YouTube, it's Tracy from Entrepreneur Girl, and today is Tracy's Tuesday Tips, and we are going to be talking about online book arbitrage. Many of you know that I started my Amazon business based solely on books. That's how I started. I've done a lot of book videos in the past, but today I wanted to talk about online arbitrage for books specifically. Basically, after my books start and I realized, hey, this really works. Amazon is a real legitimate thing that I can employ myself with. I started adding other products, kind of scanning everything that I see in a store is part of who I am. It's in my blood. I can't not scan. I don't know if it's the treasure hunt or just curiosity, wanting to know, what fits in this model and what doesn't. But I scan most anything I come across in some of the most bizarre places. And if it's profitable, I will add it to my Amazon inventory. And so I kind of grew out of books. They were still the foundation of my business, but I was adding all of these other products that I was finding along the way into my inventory base. So my two passions still remain: books being my first love. I'm such a book geek, and also vintage. All vintage products I absolutely adore. Also, when I started my company, I was part-time. I was a one-person operation. I had 8 kids and I was homeschooling. Once I began to max out my part-time hours, I realized that I needed to go full-time with my business. And then once I maxed out my own one-person operation capabilities, I started incorporating the help of all of my family, all of my children. And then recently I have branched out of that. So now we're at the point where we need to find other methods of scaling up our business. It's really hard to be efficient with your time when you're having to reinvent the wheel every day. I have to go out and source or hire someone to source for products and find them each and every day. I list and they sell, and then I have to go out and find more product. The second thing is my base is still books. So I want to expand the books more. I want it to expand it into more of a larger scale, legit book operation. So now that I've maxed out all of these things, I really needed to find other methods of scaling up my business. The second thing was, if your base is in books like mine is, you want to, expand into a larger scale book operation. So how is I going to make that work? 3, saving time, efficient with our time, incorporating automation online, like we're going to be talking about, staying true to my original purpose. My whole lifestyle business motto is to build a business, love your life, and to be able to balance both. And I really wanted to stay true to that. I didn't want to work myself out of having, the type of lifestyle that I wanted. Different types of entrepreneurs out there. Some are really into creating a large scale business. I'm very, very focused on the quality of life that I have for myself and for my family. So I always want to be mindful of that when I'm making long-term business decisions. I really like the hunt. I also like to do things like, sleep. So I had to really think through this business model. And so growth is always on the forefront of our minds as entrepreneurs and business owners. We always want to be in growth, because if you're not growing, you're dying. So we always want to be growing and pushing forward. So there's going to be a lot of growth videos in the next weeks to come, because that's really my focus going into 2017. We're all going to hit this where we max out our current business model and we're having to look for other ways to branch and expand outside of that. And for me, a big part of that is sourcing online, because when I'm sourcing online, I have more passive streams of product, like with private label. You've seen that I've gone into that. So I don't have to go out and, re-find one item at a time. I can get it online in bulk. Today, we're going to be talking about books specifically and sourcing that for them online. So even though I might have to find one at a time, I'm doing it from, my pajamas in my home, and I don't have to take the time to drive to all the different stores and time scanning in the store and checking out there. It's much more efficient time saving, and it's great for quality of life because I can do it from anywhere at any time of the day. So now enter in online arbitrage. I especially like books because many people want to get rid of their books. So they're easy to find. There's just tons of them everywhere, and many people don't look at them as valuable. So they're willing to part, away from their books for a really minimal amount of money. Also, with selling books, you don't get a lot of returns. It's not easy to damage them, so I don't have to worry so much with shipping concerns. I don't have to have them insured, and it's just cheaper to acquire than other products. Now, places that you can go online, of course, online arbitrage is the same as retail arbitrage. It's just all the stores that you would shop at, you can shop here online. If you're looking specifically for books, you can just, perform a Google search to get you started and find a whole bunch of different places. All your bookstores like Barnes & Noble, of course, but then there's book outlets and other places that deal with discounted books. My personal favorite is still Amazon or eBay or something along the lines of that, where you can still find good deals purchasing low on eBay and turning around and reselling it on Amazon, or vice versa. Or in the examples that we're going to be showing today, you can buy low on Amazon and then turn around and sell it higher on Amazon. When I find books that are profitable for me, I like to maintain a list of good sellers, books that have proven themselves to me. And so this list I use Google Documents for because I really want it on my phone, because my phone is what I have with me when I go sourcing. So I use Google Docs because I can have it on my computer, but I can have it on my phone. I can access it from pretty much anywhere. And it's free, so that's also really nice. These lists can also help me when I'm shopping places like Craigslist or local Facebook groups, or if I'm just going to walk into a store and grab, or the newspaper classifieds, or even here when we're searching online. Back to Amazon. The reason I like Amazon so much is obviously because I sell on it and I also buy on it, but Amazon has over 20 million books on their site. So there's thousands of niches. That's really wonderful, but it also makes it hard to try to determine, what are we looking for when we're trying to online arbitrage books. We can see here all your competition. There's Kindle, which of course we're not worried about, hardcover, and paperback. Say I want to look just for hardcovers of this book. I would look under the used, and I can scroll down and see what is merchant fulfilled. The lowest one is $49.63 plus $3.99 for the shipping. So this is going to be, a $54 book. Now if we just sort by Prime, I can see that there's only one. It's $54. So there's not going to be enough markup here for this book. But basically, that's the sum of it. You're going to look and see what the lowest merchant fulfilled is. You're going to look at the competition you would have with FBA or, your Prime, and you're just going to do the math and see if it works or not. So that still sounds relatively simple, but there really is a lot more to it than that. Okay, just out of curiosity, I'm going to click on the paperback and see if it's the same story. So here it's listing as a penny book. So I would have a total of $4 invested. Let's just go ahead and click on the FBA and see what our competition is. If we go in at the lowest, if we're going to match the lowest, then that would be $6.36. Again, this would not be a profitable book. We know from previous videos that the Prime sellers, the FBA sellers, can sell the exact same product for more than the merchant fulfilled sellers. Sometimes much more, right? To name only a couple of reasons, because we've talked about it all in the past and I don't want to say it again here, but you have access to these amazing Amazon Prime members who love to shop and love their free day shipping. Look at another one. This is Seth's book, and I'm going to go under hardcover, and I'm going to see the used here. And I can see again that it's a penny book plus the $3.99, so that's going to be the $4. I'm going to see that, nope, that doesn't work either. So you can see that this would be very time consuming, or could be very time consuming, to try to figure out of these 200 million Amazon books, which ones are going to be profitable for you as a reseller. And that is why I wanted to do today's video, to help you understand some tips that you could do to do this, and also to understand that this is a great way to expand your business. So what are some tips to help us navigate that crazy amount of books, whether we're utilizing Amazon or some other online site? Well, here's a list of a few, and my personal most favorite, because it's the most important to me, is the sales rank and the sales rank history. So for sales rank, this is like what's the best sellers, what's really selling, what's going to sell quickly. Closer to 0 is the best, a higher ranking. I really don't like anything in most categories over 100,000, but with books it's a little different, and I really like everything to be under the 1 million mark. So to give you an example, if it has a rank of 5,000, well, I can price my book a lot higher because I know it's going to sell a lot faster. I don't have to, match that bottom FBA seller. I can be, middle or even the higher range, because I know that once those sell off, mine's going to sell too, because it's just a high demand item. And the sales rank history, which is when you get into the Keepa or the camel that you've seen me utilize in the past, that gives you a much more accurate picture of that product, because when you're just looking at the sales rank in the moment, it's just a snapshot in time based on right now. So maybe they just had a couple of sales, so now their sales rank is looking really awesome, when in fact, it's just kind of an artificial uptrend, because in the past, 3 months, they've really not been that high. Type of book is really important. Most everyone knows not to even mess with fiction books. Any type of textbooks are awesome. You've heard me say that in the past. I love selling curriculum for homeschoolers, which is kind of along the same lines of textbooks, but it's for school-age children. I like vintage books. Christian books tend to sell well for me. So the type of book is really important, because some are selling well and some aren't selling at all. The price of the lowest used offer. Here, this is really your merchant fulfilled, the least amount they can get that book for. And then in addition to that, I also look at how many other merchant fulfilled offers are there out there. And the reason I'm looking at this is because the lower the number of merchant fulfilled offers, typically the higher the prices go. High number of merchant fulfilled offers out there, then typically the sales rank is better, because a lot of people are trying to sell that book. So I can get a lot of information based on how many merchant fulfilled offers that there are. Amazon's price. Okay, now for Amazon's price, there's some people will say, oh, don't worry about Amazon. Some people will say, they're your ceiling. You can't get in a price war with Amazon. You just can't beat them. I'm kind of somewhere in between, but I am mindful of if Amazon's in the game. I do kind of lean towards, I'm not going to get in a price war with Amazon. If I did, I wouldn't win. So they are kind of what I look at as, that's about the highest I'm going to be able to price it. So if I can't make, the 3 times rule between the lowest merchant fulfilled, what I could buy it for, to Amazon's price, what I could sell it for if they're in the mix, then I typically won't mess with that book. The FBA price. So this is the price of our competitors, other people that are also listing this book. So this is what we're looking for. If I bought it for this amount and I sold it for this amount, can I make enough money to pay my fees and to make it worth my time? And that's where we talk about the 3 times rule. If you buy a book, for $5, you should be able to list it for $15. And that gives you the $5 price back, the cost of goods back. It also gives you $5 that will pay for the fees, and it gives you $5 to put in your bank as your profit. And that's where that 3 times rule comes in. And then sometimes the publication date is important, especially if you're dealing with textbooks or curriculum, like I mentioned up here, because anything really outside of like a 10-year old book, I start to be leery of. So some people say, oh, well, if it's last year's copy, you can't sell it. And that's not true. You really can sell it. But once I get to like the 10-year mark, then, I'll have to really look at some of my other numbers. Rank, of course, is the number one thing, and it just kind of oversteps all these other things. If the rank is low, then I'm not going to worry so much about the other things, because it means it's a fast-selling book and it should sell for me just fine. These are some of the things that we can look for to try to narrow down our search when we're looking for books. So now we're going to pop back to Amazon. Okay, so now we're back over here on our Amazon page. And if you look up here, there's a button that says Advanced Search. So we're going to click on Advanced Search. And here we have some options. Now, Amazon, I love that they allow us to have these search functions, but in reality, they're not going to be precise. It would be great if I could just say, okay, I want to find out how many FBA sellers are, and I only want to look at books under 100,000 in rank. But we can't do it like that. We can help eliminate that and narrow your search down. So say I was looking for the niche of, I'm just going to type in something. Okay, so real estate investment, because that's something I'm interested in. All right, so if I had just typed in real estate, that would have been too broad. So real estate investment will narrow it down a little bit. This still might be too broad, but we'll give it a go. I'll go down and do publication date, because we talked about that. I want it to be after the year 2006 for that 10-year purpose that we talked about. And the subject, like a lot of this, you can kind of narrow down. I know real estate investment is not going to be in, health and fitness. Business and investing, that's really where it should be. So I'm going to click on that. This format over here, there's a lot of this that I don't care to pop up. I'm really only worried about paperback and hardcover, so I could choose either one of those, or I can, do a search for one and then come back and do a search for the other one. Lastly, the sort results by, I can click best-selling if I want. And sometimes I do this and sometimes I don't, because if you click on best-selling, then it's going to give you the higher priced listings first typically. And so then you have to scroll through a lot of pages, or maybe like skip a few pages at the beginning. Whereas if you don't do best-selling, then you'll get those lower price points. If you're spending, if you're not afraid to spend more money per product, per book, then I would absolutely click on that. But if not, you might want to leave it unclicked, or maybe, just like we did the paper book, try it one way and then try it the other way. So I'm not going to click it for this example, and I'm just going to click search. I like to really see books that are over at least $12, because the least you're going to find it here is the penny book that we've already seen a couple of for the $3.99 shipping. So you're going to have about a $4 investment no matter what you do on Online Arbitrage, at least with the Amazon site. So if that's the case, if each book is going to be about $4, in order to get my 3 times money back, it's going to have to be able to be sold for at least $12. I like it a little bit over the $12 limit, like maybe around 14. Okay, so I'm going to click on this one. The 4 Dummies book, sometimes, those sell really well.